Just bought a brand new Denon and Marantz AVR or looking to optimize the sound quality of your system? Today we're going to be talking about room compensation, notably Audyssey. Hello everyone, it's Phil and I'm back with Cam, and today we're going to be talking about room compensation or digital room correction. There's a lot of different terms for it, but basically using the built-in program in a Denon and Marantz AVR called Audyssey to optimize the sound quality of your space. So Cam, you mentioned that there's a lot of questions about Audyssey, and you probably have a couple of questions as well.
Absolutely.
So what do you want to start with?
So let's start with going to our website. The website is Audyssey.com. Once you go directly to Audyssey.com, you see that there's quite a bit of options for what Audyssey is actually called. You see Audyssey EQ, you see Audyssey EQ XT, and then you see Audyssey EQ XT32. Could you explain what all that is to start with?
So if you go to the websites, or you look at our, whether it's the Denon and Marantz website, or you go directly to Audyssey, you'll see that there's all these different levels of Audyssey with all these little logos and symbols behind, right? But before we get into that, let's talk about why you want it in the first place.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So say you went out and you bought a beautiful new AVR, a new receiver, and you bought a bunch of speakers, right? Well, you have to put the speakers in the room. And in order to get the best sound, you have to tell the receiver how far away each speaker is from your listening position, what size they are, so the receiver could take all that information and optimize the sound for your room. Now you could do it manually, but Audyssey will do it for you automatically. So it utilizes a microphone, and then that microphone will, by you running test tones, will figure out all of that stuff. So you're not running around with a tape measure and taking guesses. So the goal is to, wherever you put the speaker in your room, Audyssey ensures you get the best sound on where you place that speaker, right? So that's what we're talking about.
Okay, now, so it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. So what you're talking about, it's correcting the sound for your specific room, which is why you said there's a microphone.
There's a microphone. So we'll talk a little bit about the microphone, but every Denon and Marantz AVR ships with a microphone.
Gotcha.
When you first take it out of the box, the system's going to walk you through. And by the way, if you want to watch that, Cam and I have actually done videos that show that process of how it walks you through the process, right? Yes. But what it does, it asks you to plug the microphone in, and then it'll run a series of test tones. So say in my room, I'm sitting 10 feet away from my left speaker and 11 feet away from my center channel and 15 feet away from my surround sounds. The receiver needs to know that to make sure the sound arrives at the right time. Say I have a big speaker in my room that's big, large speaker that can play bass, but you may have a bookshelf because you didn't want to put that in there. It needs to know that. Say you have, I have a subwoofer and you don't. It needs to know that. And based on all that information, it looks at the speakers you have and where they're positioned to give you as close to what the director wanted you to hear as humanly possible with your scenario.
Got it.
Very complex,
right.
but it's nice that the receiver will do it for you automatically, as long as you plug the microphone in and follow the instructions. So that's what Audyssey does for you.
Got it.
Now, there's different levels of Audyssey. So if you look at the box, it'll say Audyssey built in. So think of that as almost like you have a computer, right? And Audyssey would be your software program. You're a gamer, right? Yep. So think of it as I have Halo on my computer, right? Yes. So think of the processor in here as a little computer. So I have Halo on my computer. But depending on how powerful the processor is in my computer, I can run a different level of Halo, right? I can have more frames per second, I can have more resolution, I can play it back in HDR. For you geeks out there who game, I can have ray tracing, right?
Right, yeah.
So there's a brain in the receiver that runs Audyssey, this software, this program.
Okay.
But depending on the size of the brain, you can run a more advanced version of the software. So the quickest way to see that is if you look at the receiver, it'll say, maybe sometimes you'll see it says Audyssey Bronze, Audyssey Silver, Audyssey Platinum. Okay. Or you'll see it say, MultiEQ or MultiEQ XT or MultiEQ XT32.
Got it.
All right, so those are the type of software that is actually being ran in the computer, in the system. Now, so if we look at Audyssey 32, XT32 versus regular Audyssey, think of it as I have more adjustment points that I could use.
Okay.
So Audyssey knows what the issue is in your room or where your speakers are placed, but I need adjustment points to fix things such as bass, to give you really clean bass in your room. The X32 just has more adjustment points that it can actually utilize. So it does a better job of tuning it towards your room.
Okay.
You know.
So if you have like adjustment point here and adjustment point here, it has more adjustability within there to get you to that adjustment point versus making big adjustments.
Exactly.
It's making smaller adjustments to get you to that point.
Exactly. So but a little bit later, we're going to talk about the different ways you can control Audyssey and make requests. So say you make a request. I want this much bass in my room. Audyssey will look at how many points it has to try to achieve that goal for you. If you have more adjustment points, it's going to be closer to achieving your goal. Okay. I will tell you that most of the time when we talk about Audyssey, X32, a lot of times those points actually matter more for bass. Bass is one of the biggest challenges in a house, and X32 just does a better job of making that bass better, right?
Got it. Okay.
Now, in addition to that, by the way, if you pick something like Audyssey X32, there's other capabilities built into Audyssey in that package. So say you get Platinum, Audyssey Platinum, and on a big receiver like maybe this Marantz Cinema 30 has Audyssey Platinum. It also has things for dynamic volume, so it can set it up so you don't get huge jumps in volume when you go from a quiet scene to a loud scene. It has the ability to control 4 subwoofers. So there's more. So on top of Audyssey XT, Audyssey Platinum has more. It's almost like if we go back to the gaming analogy, you have Halo, right? But then there's the Halo Gold Pack that has Halo plus a couple extra players and another weapon kind of thing. So think of the silver, the bronze, silver, platinum as buying the Halo, combat pack, and you get the best version of the game plus additional plugins. Does that make sense?
Okay. So it's like Black Ops 6. We're gonna go Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, but I'm getting extra skins and extra weapons and blueprints.
Exactly. So the goal is just to give you a really good room composition, to make it sound good in your room, and then give you more things that you can adjust to work best for how you listen to music. Okay. So those are the 3 levels of Audyssey. You have your Audyssey, your Audyssey X, your Audyssey MultiEQ. You have your Audyssey MultiEQ XT, and then you have your Audyssey XT32.
Got it.
And then those can be bundled into packages: Audyssey Bronze, Audyssey Silver, and then Audyssey Platinum. Audyssey Platinum is the best version X32, plus all those additional plugins we just talked about. Okay.
Got it.
So that's what's going on there, right? A couple of tips about Audyssey, by the way, as you set this up. The first thing, the microphone.
Yes.
The system's going to ask you to put the microphone in different locations. So even if you're only going to sit in one spot, you should still do multiple positions. It'll tell you to do up to 8. The benefit of that is it gets a better sense of your room. So even if you can do one, the more points you follow. So it says, okay, first thing is we're going to make you move this. We're going to put the microphone there. It's going to run these funny little test tones in every speaker. Then it's going to tell you to move the mic again. Do that. Do it for at least 4 or 5. If you do that, you'll get better performance. So make sure you use that. The next thing is, don't put the mic where your ears are going to be. Okay?
Right, yes.
People have a habit of taking the mic and putting the mic on the couch.
Yeah,
right?
Don't do that.
And it's not EQing for your ears, it's EQing for your bottom end, right? So make sure you put the microphone at least where people's ears are going to be. So use a tripod if you have one. If you don't have a tripod, we even include like a little origami tripod in the box.
Yeah,
where you
a little cardboard
a little
origami.
Cardboard tripod. Either use the cardboard tripod or use the tripod you have sitting around. Okay?
Got it.
So that's anything else? Any more questions you want to have?
Yeah, so when you're doing, so you plug in the microphone, put it on the tripod. Now, isn't there also multiple ways to actually access Audyssey to do your tuning of your room? Because I've seen, even within our building here, when some of our trainers come within the building, some of our trainers will do it straight from the AVR itself and just use a screen. Some of our trainers will come into the room and they break out their phone and they do it all from an app on their phone. And some of our trainers will come into our building and they'll do the tuning from their laptops. So is there a difference in maybe, I don't know, would that be software, or is that like an additional thing where people, maybe that's an additional cost of you have to buy an app to be able to do that? How does that work when people are using different accessories,
different ways
to tune?
Okay, so one of the reasons, like, there's a lot of different digital room compensation software programs that are out there. Like, for example, our receivers not only support Audyssey, we support Dirac. If you want to learn more about the Dirac, there's a video that Kam and I did where we actually walk you through Dirac. So on our channel as well, you can check that out. But Audyssey is our #1 way of doing it. And the reason why we chose that is there's different levels of customers out there. You may be an entry-level customer that's just getting into this, and you want it to be simple, and you don't want to go, you want the system to do it for you automatically. That is the way it's built into the receiver. You plug the mic in, you look at the on-screen, and you follow the instructions, and it does everything for you automatically. Asks you a couple of simple questions. But then there's people out there that want to be able to tune. They want to be able to customize. They want to be able to change things, right? Or make it exactly what they want. Well, that's where either you use the app or the software program to do that. So let's talk about the first way. If you're an entry-level person and this is your first one, or you don't want to deal with it, you always use the Audyssey, but just use the basic one. Take it out of the box. The setup menu assistant will say, let's walk you through the process. You plug the microphone in and you just follow the instructions, you're good to go, right?
Nice, easy, straightforward, simple setup.
Exactly. The other way, if you want more capabilities, if you go to the Android store or the Apple store, there's an app called the MultiEQ app that's available on that thing. It costs about $20 US. When you get that app, then what happens is the microphone is still plugged into the receiver. The receiver will send out test tones when a microphone picks up the information. That data goes back to the receiver, and then that information that it gathered goes to your iPhone or your mobile phone or your mobile device, right? Now it's in the mobile device. This has a good processor in it, or a good but your phone or a laptop has more power than what was used to send a man to the moon, right? So you have a lot more, so you can either let the mathematics and all those things be calculated by the receiver, or the receiver could send that data to your smartphone and use the more powerful processor in your smartphone to make those calculations and adjustments. And then you can also go in and change things. I want a little bit more bass over here. I want to see my before and after measurements. You know, I want to have multiple versions of what I'm listening to, or multiple tests. I want one that has a lot of bass and one that doesn't. You can do all of those adjustments in your phone. And then once you make those requests are booted back to the AVR. Okay.
Got it.
Now, go ahead. So you think you have the app. I have the app. You have the app, right? So as he pulls up the app, and we'll show it to you, one of the things we have to mention about that, the app is this, you can use this app on all the different levels. You can use this app on all the different levels of receivers, right? We mentioned that there's different levels of Audyssey. Audyssey MultiEQ, Audyssey MultiEQ XT, and Audyssey MultiEQ32. The app is just making the request, right? So I can draw this beautiful curve about what I want it to sound like. I want more bass at the bottom, and I want to roll off the high frequencies because it bothers my spouse, or I think it sounds better in my room. So I make this request. When that request gets booted back into the receiver, it's the version of the receiver can now use all of those, remember talking about those adjustment points, we call them filters, to try to achieve your request, right? So the app is just for you to make it easier for you to customize your request. right? The built-in is, oh, we think this is the best one for you. The app is, no, I like that one, but I want to make my own request. And then once I make that request, depending on whether or not you have MultiEQ, MultiEQ X32, MultiEQ XT or MultiEQ X32, I have the the processor has more levels that I can try to achieve your request.
Okay.
So the app works for all levels of Audyssey. It's just that depending on your AVR, your receiver has the higher end receivers with the bigger brains are better at achieving those requests.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense. So then, and that goes the same with the laptop, or does the laptop expand that capability?
The laptop takes it to another level.
Okay.
So if you look at the app, the amount of stuff that you can do with the app is amazing. You can build your own, we call them target curves. And you basically draw the frequency response that you want. If you don't know what that is and you don't care, don't buy the, which is a large amount of people, yeah, the receiver do a great job. But if you're like me that likes to really tweak on it, you have an idea of you want to use this type of curve and this type of roll off,
right.
then that's where the app comes in, right? But then people go crazy. I want this type of crossover slope, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and and then that's where the software comes in. The software has to be purchased, and the software is around, I want to say around $200, right? That is for someone that's building a hardcore theater. Like if you look at the receiver next to Cam, that is a Denon A1H. That sucker is like, what, $7,000?
Yes.
Most likely that is going to go into a room with probably $15,000 worth of equipment, right? Anybody that's going to invest well over $20,000 in their system, spending $200 to really have your custom installer, or you, if you're a hardcore enthusiast, be able to completely fine tune it to the nth degree, it's a great investment, right? If you look at a regular receiver, like maybe a Cinema 30, this is about $4,000. Or maybe you're looking at something like a little Denon 2800 that's like, $1,800, $1,900. $20 to get the most out of that is still a pretty worthy investment by using the app, right?
On a cell phone.
Exactly. If you're someone that's just getting started and maybe you have an S series AVR that's like, $500, $600, $700, or maybe you do buy the one for $2,000, but you're not all into that. Just at least use the built-in. Either way, you're going to get better performance.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So anything else you could think of?
I am out of questions.
Well, I got a couple for you.
What else should we discuss on here?
Okay.
Oh, I did have a question actually that somebody brought up to me that I could not answer. Mm-hmm. What is MultiEQ X Pro?
Okay, so that's a good question. If you go to the website, there's two different versions of the software. One version is for an enthusiast who just wants to buy one license. That's MultiEQ X. MultiEQ X. That's the software, right? That's the first one. That is for someone that's for an enthusiast. Okay. But if you're a pro person, or say you're a dealer or an installer and you're doing like 19 houses, that's what the Pro is for. So they can have multiple licenses. So they can buy the license, and you as a customer can just say, I want this on my receiver, and they would use one of their licenses. Okay. The capability between the two softwares are identical. It's just is it for an individual user, an enthusiast, or is it for a dealer who's gonna install those for a consumer? That's the Pro, right?
Got it.
The other thing, microphones. People go, well, the microphone comes in the box. Why couldn't I buy a better microphone? You can, but we know each microphone is adjusted, and we know what the flaws are in that microphone. So say that microphone has a dip in frequency in the mid-range, right? Mm-hmm. We know that is a issue or a thing that's a characteristic of that microphone. The receiver knows that.
We know the tolerances.
We know the tolerance of the mic. We know how that mic responds in the frequency. So because we know that is actually built into the receiver. So if there's a dip in the mid-range, the receiver knows that. So to the receiver, that microphone is perfect.
Got it.
Right? Now there is another microphone that you could buy if you have the software program. That's just two other options. There is the microphone that comes in a box is free. It comes in the box, right? And if you ever lose their mic, you can go on Amazon and get a replacement mic for around $49. Then there's, for you guys out there that really want the best version of that mic, there's one that's available for $79. That's designed to go with the software. And what this is each one of those microphones has been measured, and they come with a calibration file.
Okay.
So if you buy one of those microphones and you have the software, you type in the number of that microphone, and now your software knows exactly what that microphone is going to do. Not the type of microphone, but that microphone.
Gotcha.
Right. So if you're going to invest $200 in the software, and you want to you can buy the microphone for $79.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Serialized, calibrated, and it goes specifically with the software because it knows exactly what that microphone is and what that microphone's going to do.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now the other thing too is the mic has to be plugged into the AVR, and you'll see the little
gotcha.
plug at the
Yes.
front,
Yep.
and it comes with a cord. You know, it's pretty long. For most houses, if the receiver's in the same room, it's not going to be a problem.
Right.
But there are people that need more length, right? And you can go out and buy maybe a mini jack adapter and maybe double that length. But some people want to go further.
Right.
So we have what's called an Audyssey Pro Kit. And that is for someone that maybe has this receiver in a rack, downstairs, and then 1,000, and then it needs to be 400 feet that runs up into where the theater is going to be. We have a kit for that. It's a pro kit. Most
I'm
people
about
don't
to
need
learn
that.
something new here myself. I didn't even know about this.
Yeah, it's a pro kit. So the pro kit is designed for pros, right? And maybe a person that does it a lot will probably get a pro kit because you may do a small den or you may do a mansion, and you want to make sure that you have enough length to plug that microphone into the AVR.
What?
Yeah.
So it's an extended cable.
Yeah, it's a nicer
already attached to the mic, or is it like an adapter?
It's a nice mic. It's actually a nicer mic.
Okay.
Right. It comes with a tripod, like its own tripod.
Nice.
And then the cable can be up to a kilometer, so 1,000 meters. So if you need to, exactly, and it's more for, like I said, that dealer who wants the flexibility of being able to run the cord as far as possible.
Absolutely.
I will tell you, for the average person, if you compare the Pro Kit to the calibrated mic for $79, and they're both in the same room, the ability for you to differentiate the difference is not there. It's more about the flexibility of running the length.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, and that's just because it has to be plugged. The mic has to be plugged into the receiver, and that's why that kit came out. Okay.
So, do you happen to know the pricing on the Pro Kit? Is there pricing for that?
I am not sure.
Okay.
But it's more of a pro piece. I'd have to find that. We'll make sure that we put that information and probably a link in the video. What we'll do, by the way, is we'll put a link to both the app for your phone, for Android and Google, in the description for the video. We will also put a link to the software program in the video. We will put a link to buying the replacement mic as well as the calibrated mic in the video. And then last but not least, we will also put a link to the Pro Kit in the video. So if you're trying to get those things, those information, just look down in the description below to get those particular things.
Such a swell guy.
Okay. There's one more thing that I want to talk about, by the way. Say you calibrate a room. Sometimes you may just want to be by yourself and you want the best sound in your seat, right?
Okay. Yep.
But sometimes there's a whole family in the room and you want to sound great for everyone.
Sure.
So our receivers have what are called dual speaker preset, which means that you can do maybe two Audyssey calibrations.
Yep.
And you can think of it as cam mode. Cam sitting on the couch right in the middle. You want way more bass, like hell, we call it Hellcat mode, way over the top, right? You want way more bass. You're gonna play it at higher levels, and you want it to be just the most amazing experience in your seat. You could do an Audyssey calibration, grab the app or the software program, and you could make it the most ultimate mode for your seat.
Got it.
Right? Then you can go in and maybe instead of having the 8 points for the microphone really close to your seat, you make those 8 points a little wider, a little bigger, right? For your whole couch.
Got it.
So now you and your wife and your kids can sit down and watch the movie, and everybody gets a good experience, right? And then you would adjust that, and then that would become family mode. And so you can have a cam mode, and then you can have a family mode.
Makes sense.
For me, I have a theater. I have a motorized screen. So at night, when the screen is down and the curtains are closed, it's EQ'd for that.
Right.
And then I have another one when the screen is up and the curtains are open during the day.
Okay.
I can do that. You could do a music one. You can have one set just for music,
Oh.
and you can have one set for movies. So
Smart.
tons of things. So not only can you compensate, you can have it dialed in, but you can dial it in for two different settings that you can quickly access from your remote control.
Smart. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm out of questions. Is there anything else that you want to discuss, or are we closing this out?
Yeah, I think we're good for today. But if you want to learn more about Audyssey and our room compensation, we encourage you to look at some of our previous YouTube videos where we went through and talked about. We did one with just the app, which we'll include the link to. We did one on the software program where Cam and I set up a more elaborate system so you can see the software program. And we also encourage, if you have the opportunity, make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel, and because that way I can convince my boss to make more of these, and Cam can do these instead of doing paperwork. All right. So I think that is it. And if you have any questions or anything else you'd like us to talk about, please put it into the chat in below, and we will make sure that we try to address the more popular things in upcoming tech talks in the future. So Cam, thank you very much for coming and hanging out and talking to me. And hopefully you've learned a little bit about Audyssey today. So take care, and we will talk to you soon.